we are live, technically. Sometime we should try doing this live though, just to get exposure on YouTube. With our massive audience.
Yeah, allow people to comment and chime in at real time.
Yeah,
That'd
exactly.
be cool.
Yeah, we'd probably have to hire somebody as a moderator because the comments would be flying so quickly.
I know.
From all the feedback from what we're saying.
A lot of great questions coming in. Good comments from people all over the world, really.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yeah, luckily, get a translator in there too.
Yeah. Luckily, your Icelandic sign language will be great use.
Yeah, everybody. Nick's got a headache, so I offered to do the podcast in sign language tonight for our audio visual or our visual audience, and he doesn't know Icelandic sign language, so
what an asshole!
Another fault.
Yet another fault indeed. Yeah,
of a white man.
Of a white man. Welcome
Speaking
to
of white men.
Oh yeah, let's talk about white men.
Yeah, my God. For once.
For once.
I got an update on my Ancestry.com.
Oh, what?
I did. And it's more specific, I guess, as more people input their DNA samples. They can refine it over time. And I got a little bit more insight into who I am.
I would love to hear this refinement that they made.
Yeah, this will clear up a lot of questions.
You're no longer white.
No, well, in fact, I could be the whitest man who ever lived with this formula here. 35% England and Northwestern Europe.
Okay.
25% from Wales.
Oh.
22% from Scotland.
Okay.
Wow.
William Wallace. You're essentially related.
I would say so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
13% Germanic Europe.
Oh, okay.
That didn't show up on the last test.
No.
And then 5% Norway, which also didn't show up.
Huh.
So
you truly are just trying to avoid the sun at all costs.
Pretty much. This is a formula for someone who, you can't get much whiter physically than that, I guess.
No, you really
I was
can't.
hoping for a little bit more diversity in my DNA, but it's all right.
I've never done that. I don't know if I ever will. I do wonder where. I genuinely think some of mine would probably go back to like Russia, because my opa was from Yugoslavia. Mm-hmm. So that's probably that and Germanic. I have strong doubts I would be following in your footsteps with Wales and Scotland and England and whatever else was in there. Norway,
yeah, that was in there a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
huh? When did you do that originally?
It would have been like back in February, I think, of this year.
Oh wow! Okay.
Is when I submitted it. It takes a while to get it back and analyzed and processed, but yeah, you get it back and it just uploads to the app on your phone. You don't get anything in the mail. It's just like, here's what your DNA says. And then it gives you like where people from those countries migrated or emigrated to in the United States, the regions that people from those countries did, because you tell them where you're from currently. And yeah, it's pretty much the southeastern United States. So they've got me pretty much nailed.
And the government has all your information.
And I'm going to be canceled for being far too white.
Far too white. not far too right. Far too white.
Exactly. He's on the white. But yeah, you mentioned you might not be, you may not ever do this. You also previously mentioned you may not ever vote.
Oh yeah.
And voting is, I guess it's going on now. Well, it definitely is in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Early voting.
Yeah.
Potentially in Maryland too.
Proof that I will be voting this year.
Whoa! Yeah. Breaking news, everybody.
I know. I got my absentee ballot. I just got it today, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was, I actually applied for it in September, or registered to vote and all that, and asked for it, but it just now arrived. So I need to get on top of that, just to make sure that my vote counts. But rest assured, Kyle, I will not be voting after this. I'm simply voting because I have the strongest
because
disdain.
You want to keep America great again. I know. And that's
the strongest disdain for the current leadership. So that's really the only reason why.
He's a one and done, folks.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yep.
That's fine.
That's it's fine to you until we get messages on the Instagram saying you have to do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously this year has been crazy in a lot more ways than one, and then on top of it is an election year as well. But I don't know. It just seems like there's been every election year it's like commercials, political commercials, and celebrities and, friends, whoever, on all forms of media saying, go vote, you need to vote, blah, 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 vote. And I don't know. I mean, the more this year has gone on, and I definitely had that attitude, the last election. I wasn't like, if you don't vote for this person, then this will happen, or like I know the answers and you don't know the answers, therefore vote for this person. I'm already against like people just trying to tell you who you should vote for, but I'm more now against like just people telling you to vote in general. Like everybody knows they have the right to vote if they're a citizen, and I just feel like it's a really personal thing for people. And if they want to vote, they're going to vote for the person who they feel will best represent them. I mean, the politicians work for us. That's what a lot of people forget. But, you got to just look inside yourself and see what values or issues mean the most to you and find the candidate who you really believe is going to try to uphold those values. And I don't need to know who that is, and I don't need to like tell you who that's going to be for you, because everybody has different beliefs and values. So I'm just like, everybody knows you can vote, and it's okay if you don't vote. And like, I just get the feeling like not only are people telling people you need to vote, like I don't need to do shit, first of all, but like chastising you or making you feel shamed just for choosing not to vote is very strange, and it's just bordering on other people's, I don't know, personal space, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think, obviously, I agree. I think that some people get really emotional about voting, specifically if you're talking about people that are not in the majority, like they're not white, right? So if you have people that are African American and they feel like the government as it is now is literally putting them in danger, I can understand how a person would get really emotional about that and be like, it's a privilege to not just to be able to say I'm not going to vote, but also to say that it's like to be in a position where it's not going to affect you in that dire of a situation where a person feels like their life is in danger because of the greater institution singles them out and they're at higher risk of death. And I'm just giving an example. I don't know the statistics and all that, but so from that perspective, I understand why people get impassioned by that stuff. But I mean, I think to your point, I completely agree that if I choose that I don't want to vote, it's there's also a distinction between I don't want to vote because I'm lazy and I don't want to vote because I just think that everybody's shit. And I really I've thought about it and I just can't stand politicians. Obviously that's been my reason. But yeah, so I was kind of on the fence. I was kind of back and forth because I still can't stand politicians and I still can't stand Democrats and I still can't stand Republicans. But on the other hand, I do the reason why I'm voting this time, at least, and there are a number of reasons, but one of them is because I think I said this on the podcast last time, not last time, but one of the times was when Trump decided to walk from the White House to that church just to hold the Bible up. And just, I mean, all those people were getting gassed and all that. That was the most ridiculous thing. Yeah, for me, that was it. And I already didn't like the guy, but
right,
that was far too much for me. Because I'm not going to go into that anymore. It was just that was it for me. But I mean, also on top of that, there's the added benefit of I do like the ideas of a lot of democratic ideas, liberal, I guess I should say, liberal ideas, I do agree with. It's just that I don't believe in the people that end up, like you said, serving
or saying
the public.
Those.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But I agree with them. Obviously, I believe in equality and all these different things. So that's another draw for why I want to vote this time around. But it's not enough of a draw for me to vote continuously from now on. And I realize that that's an incredibly privileged position that I'm in, that I can do that because I would prefer to help in more direct ways, not be involved with politicians and try and figure out ways of helping out in more direct ways. Cause I do feel bad. I mean, I definitely feel bad that I was just born into this situation and I have these advantages. And I'd like to be able to give back in some way, but I consciously can't do that through politicians because I just don't believe in them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point is, if you feel that passionately about a certain side or a certain opinion about voting, you have every right to express that on any platform you choose. And that's another right that we have. But I think it might be a little bit more productive if you do feel that intensely about certain political issues is to see what you can actually physically do or directly get involved with in order to further your message or whatever, thing you're trying to get behind. Because a lot of people don't realize that, aside from voting, which, I don't know, that's just one side of it. You have more ability to make a change other than voting. I think the message is vote and then the problems will be solved,
Yeah, which is not going to be the case.
Is no. I mean, voting, that can get somebody in office, but at the end of the day, you just have to wonder, are you at that point just serving them, trying to sign people up just to get them in a more beneficial position for their lives? Or are you trying to get, the person in that is more concerned with making your life better or certain issues that you care about alleviated in certain areas of society? So I don't know. It's a very complex issue, and I'm not, I'm not necessarily trying to knock people for saying like get out and vote or vote for this person, because I'm here to listen to anybody who wants to share any information on who they think should be president. Like I will always listen to that argument.
You just don't want it shoved down your throat.
Yeah, I don't want it shoved down my throat, and I don't know if that's like the best message to encourage people to vote for all the right reasons, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely important to teach kids and people young that, this is a right, or this is a privilege that you have. And, as a citizen of the United States, you can vote. And it's a very powerful thing if you, understand what has gone into it, and, you have a voice in this. And definitely important to stress the value that voting has and has had in our society. But I just don't think it's my place to say everybody needs to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you, I don't know if those words will ever come out of my mouth. Everybody has to vote.
Yeah. If you don't vote, then I don't like those statements. Or if you vote for this person, then blank, blank, blank. Like, right. Oh, suddenly you have all the answers to our problems somehow. Like you've figured it out. Let's all listen to you now. So just the righteous mentality is what I have a issue with. Not just telling people to vote, but telling people to do anything.
Yeah. Well, I think people in general fall into this trap of feeling like they understand concepts better than others. Actually, it's kind of intriguing. I do wonder how people end up in that mentality of, I've thought about this and I feel this way, therefore I know I'm right. I mean, feeling something does not mean that it's correct. And yet people base a lot of their decisions based off of how they feel. And then once they've made that decision of how they're going to act, then they just kind of justify it ex post facto. And that's a weird thing, because it seems like as human beings, we should be able to every once in a while just check ourselves and be like, is that absolutely, definitely, I'm 100% certain that that's correct, especially as you grow older and as you learn more. It's a strange thing. I do think that, and this applies to voting, but it also applies to other things. People also really like these like kind of one-liners. Go vote. And with the mass of everybody else, yeah, exactly. Everybody says all these different things, and that's kind of in the group. The group says it, so I'm just going to say it as well and determine that it's
go
important.
Along with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and don't get me wrong, I know there are people out there that have thought about it, that are way more educated on this than I am, and that's cool. That's great. I mean, there are people like that out there, and I really respect that. But ultimately, regardless, just like you said, I don't want people constantly reminding me. And I don't know if you've noticed on like social media and stuff. I mean, it's nonstop. I like Instagram, like almost every, like 3, 4, 5 times a day on Instagram, it reminds you to vote. Or at least on mine. And then Facebook does the same thing multiple times a day. Just, I get it.
Yeah, celebrities, there's a commercial with them all being naked and like, I'm naked, so I mean, go vote. Like what?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yet again,
it was like Kylie Jenner and like all these people are like showing themselves.
Chris Rock.
All like, yeah, naked, and then they're like, go vote. Ha ha, you got me. And then everybody's...
Yeah, it's like, what? How does that have to do with voting? And yeah, I don't know.
And all the simps
are
like,
so out of touch.
She'll like me then. She'll notice me if I go vote.
If I comment and say I voted and like the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the world of social media and the news and any sort of advertisement, especially that's political.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's one reality. And then when you go into real life and you have situations like you're just eating at a restaurant, or you go to a movie, or you go in outside to walk, or the grocery store, or whatever, it's like that's a different world.
It is.
Like people now are living in two different realities, really. One reality is more, emotional. People can be and say whatever they want and argue and boss people around and scream and shout and be emotional without the fear of actual confrontation in person. Whereas in person, it's a lot more civil, rational. The world's not falling apart. Everybody's not actually dying around you. You can walk around and do normal things. And it's just like, I just had that realization the other night because I went to the movies for the first time since
lawbreaker, rule breaker, COVID denier.
Yeah.
Kyle.
And it was actually at IMAX in Raleigh.
Okay.
Saw Tenet, the new Chris Nolan film.
How was it?
I didn't understand one thing that happened. I watched every second of it. I couldn't tell you what happened. Couldn't tell you what it was about.
Like Christopher Nolan may have outdone himself.
Yeah, I think he did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you thought, what's the one with Leo?
Inception.
If you thought that was hard to follow, I mean, this is just another level.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know. The action scenes were great. The music was great. The cinematography, acting was okay. But, I was entertained. But I couldn't tell you what happened. But anyway, I went with a friend, and we went and got pizza trophy afterwards, and sitting outside and just we were just talking about because he left social media about a month ago, and he was just because he was getting so fixated on like arguing with people and
mm-hmm.
Bashing Trump people and just getting caught up in so many things that just caused him to be an angrier person and more upset person. And with COVID and everything happening, I mean, it just compiles on itself. And we just talked about how if you get too deep in that reality, you forget that in real life things are not often that incendiary and violent and negative. So just it was nice to like get out and feel like you were doing something normal and realize like, oh, things are not actually destroyed.
You feel like that's
or it's not the apocalypse.
Now that we're like with COVID and whatnot and the pandemic, like people are just indoors all the time. Well, supposedly indoors, except for the rule breakers. But you think that because people are on social media so much more at the moment, that that reality, that world that you're describing is more prevalent?
Oh yeah. I mean, with COVID, with everything that happened this year, people have stayed in initially, and then I feel like it's more of a, in a lot of places restrictions are tighter than other places, so that's a huge factor as well. But I think people get used to situations very quickly and very easily. And I think a lot of people who stayed home, they made it work, as people make difficult situations work all the time. We adapt to a lot of unique things that happen in a very quick manner. And people maybe got a little bit too comfortable, or are still being too complacent and comfortable. And they're just like, well, I've made it work and it's just very easy now. And it just feels like, I don't know. I'm not saying people are making excuses at all, because obviously cases are still rising. But yeah, people are getting used to making life work inside, and that's causing people to do more things on their computer and on social media, because if you're outside doing things, the chances of you being on those platforms are a lot more slim than when you're inside. So I think that has a huge effect.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's much of a transition, but I came up with, or I found something on the YouTubes that I wanted to share with you that's related to technology, and it's more lighthearted. So I'm going to throw up a video. The audio, I don't know if it's going to translate too well over audio, but it's relatively short. But I wanted to show you a video of essentially this broadcaster is talking to two people on the other side of this like teleconference system. But this is 1984, and they are learning how to send an email. And I think that is so, it just completely threw me for a loop, because I don't know why YouTube is doing this, but this is like the fourth video I've seen. I mean, not without me clicking on it. Like, so the algorithm isn't like adjusting to me. It's just, it's just been spreading like all these like really old videos of like computers and stuff. And this is the first or second one that I've actually clicked on.
Who's this video by the way? The page, or does it show?
Oh, it's all kinds of different people. It's definitely the algorithm just like pulling these videos together. And you can see in the comments, people are like, anybody else here from 2020? Like, you know, like I have no idea why it's doing it, but it's really cool to see.
I've been getting videos like that.
Have you?
As well on my YouTube, like, and I'll talk to it more after this video, but remind me to go a little bit deeper into that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so here it is.
With the assistance of the outside broadcast unit, we will be linking from the database studio to their home. Pat Green and Julian, welcome to Database.
Hello, Jane.
Hello, Jane.
Now, Julian, I see you have your computer linked to the telephone line. Can you tell us how you did that?
Yes, well, it's very simple, really. The telephone is...
Very simple. You're about to find out how simple this is.
connected to the telephone network with a British Telecom plug. And I simply remove the telephone jack from the telecom socket and plug it into this box here, the modem. I then take another wire from the modem and plug it in where the telephone was. I can then switch on the modem and we're ready to go. The computer is asking me if I want to log on, and it's now telling me to phone up the main Prestel computer, which I will now do.
This dude is literally calling his own computer.
It's a very simple connection to make.
Extremely simple.
Extremely.
And I can actually leave the modem plugged in once it's done that without affecting the telephone.
Wow, that's advanced.
I'm now waiting for the computer to answer me. It asks with a tone, and then I just flick the switch on the modem and replace the receiver. And
things are starting to happen.
Things are starting to happen. The Prestel computer is now asking me to enter my own personal password, which I've now done.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I love that part.
You're going to want to do something complex here.
A personal password. And everybody's like, wait, that's my password.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. No one will ever think of that.
So this is so far. I mean, all they're trying to do is connect to the internet. I mean, that's all they've done.
He's just about to do it.
He had to call his own computer just to connect to the internet.
Just to get on the internet. That's
nuts. You can see as the video is like refreshing, the screen is refreshing. It's all interlaced, so it's like one line at a time is showing up. It's nuts.
And it comes up with an opening screen.
And Julian, can you tell me, what is Micronet?
Well, Micronet basically is an area of Prestel that's specially designed for microcomputer users. It has a lot of facilities. It has a magazine-type page of what's new today, the daily news, reviews of the current software that's available. There's a letters page so people can write in. There are programs available on Mac.
So here he's got a list of all the different programs that each have a number associated to them. So you're not clicking, obviously, with a mouse or anything. You have to move everything with your keyboard, your clunky keyboard. And it's got like emails, which is called Your Letters. It has BBC programs, so actual BBC. And has a bunch of like other news systems like advertisements and stuff like that. So you have to actually like go to these things. Like it's crazy the difference between, I mean, then and now. I mean, that's obvious, but like now you have the news just like slamming you in the face with all their things, and you're just trying to avoid it as much as possible.
You literally just look at your phone and it opens now.
Yeah, exactly.
And the news is right there. You just look at something and there's the news, literally.
Yeah. Look at number 41. Advertisers by subject and A to Z. So you have to actually look up advertisements so you can flip through them. Like that is so ridiculous. Like nowadays, I mean, it's everywhere. Like you're trying to actively block the advertisements.
Oh my God.
And these people actually being
there
able
you're
to
seeking
search.
it out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. You
can load directly down the phone line. Some of them are free, some of them you do have to pay for.
If you have anything you want to say to us here on Database and you're connected to the Prestel service, you can use the Database mailbox. Pat Green is still with us in North London, and she's going to demonstrate this facility by sending us a message. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Jane.
Can you find page 7776, please? And now would you like to send us a message?
Yes, I will.
Best wishes to all the Database team. Electronically yours, the Green family.
And I should be able to get the same message now on my screen.
That's right.
Wow. That's nuts.
Whoa.
Thank you very much for your good
cool.
wishes, Pat and Julian.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
If I want to get that message printed out, I can do that as well, just by hitting this button.
Really quickly.
Print.
In just like an hour, it will print.
Yeah. And now we need a new ink cartridge.
And there it is. With the assistant.
Oh, and there it is. Just so
It's
simple.
simple as that. And people are watching like, what is that?
Exactly.
No! You think that guy is a millionaire now? Not that he invented it, but he was just deep in the internet like early days.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel like if he was working at like a computer software company or invested in the internet or email or software,
Right.
he's probably rolling in it today.
Probably.
Little did he know.
Probably. It would probably like where it actually became profitable was like in the 90s, right? Like the late 90s when like Amazon was just starting and, you know, all kinds of different websites were starting, Yahoo and Google. And man, if somebody invested in that, ooh, they would have made hundreds of millions of dollars, billions. Yeah. Anyway, I saw that and I was like, this is just too weird, and it really throws you back. Yeah. But you said you were running across
not too long ago.
That?
This I've been getting a lot of on YouTube recommendations for videos from a documentary filmmaker called David Hoffman. And he's got a ton of videos on his YouTube page, and some are like 8+ million views. And he basically in the 80s interviewed just random people, like what was your experience like living in the 50s, or like what was Vietnam like, and like from guys that in the 80s that were in Vietnam, and like just a bunch of really, and it just like on the surface it just seems like this could be boring, but when you actually hear and see people like that are youngish in the videos talking about like what they did as a teenager or a young adult in the 50s, and like what people who used to be hippies in the 60s and now they're in the 80s, like with a normal job and stuff. And they're like just talking about, I mean, it's, I can't get enough of them. Like, I highly recommend people check it out. And so much so that I was looking at videos to potentially share today, but I mean, they're all pretty long, but I didn't have enough time really to condense any. But I actually reached out. I found his email, David Hoffman. He's still alive. And
really?
Yeah, I emailed him.
Did you really?
I emailed him today, and just because, this is basically what I said. I was like, I recently discovered your work on YouTube. I feel like these videos are really important and really fascinating to me, with the firsthand accounts, blah, blah, blah. I was born in 1990, and I'm always fascinated by, any, different decades of the 20th century in America. And told him about the podcast. And I was like, wondering if you'd come on and do a quick interview. Guy's got millions of like views and followers. And I was like, I completely understand if you're too busy, but it couldn't hurt to inquire. Here are links to our videos, our website. He literally answered in like 15 minutes. He's like, hey.
Oh, man.
He's like, thanks so much for connecting with me and inviting me to your new interview style program. This dude's like probably 80 something.
Yeah.
He's like, I watched a few of your videos for a few minutes, and would have a lot of suggestions to make on how you can improve them. Suggestions you may or may not want to hear.
Dude, this is so
didn't
good.
Didn't ask for your opinion, bro. And then he was like, you're correct that I do not have enough time to be interviewed by you. And just for your consideration, I do work with people who support me on Patreon. Here's my link and a contribution of $25 a month. And I'll answer all your questions. Whatever you want to do, I wish you good luck.
Wow. Okay.
So I was like, sweet. David Hoffman reached out, but he's not going to be coming on the podcast.
Oh man,
I was right in saying that you were right. I don't have enough time.
This is after he checks out some of our videos and responds.
He's like, I looked through,
minutes. Oh,
and guys,
man.
I have a lot of suggestions that you may or may not want to hear. I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to hear them. And I think he's just like, well, his assumption now is like, I'm going to be on his Patreon.
Oh,
and he's like, sweet, looking forward to that money, and then I'll answer those questions.
Oh man.
But seriously, good. I mean, his YouTube page is really fascinating. I mean, the videos on there are really, they're funny. Some are sad. Some are, I mean, just they're overall really interesting glimpse into firsthand accounts of, what the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s were like, and all different types of regular people, how they saw them, Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Yeah, we should splice some of that stuff and throw it up here.
Yeah.
Give the guy a little a boost in viewership.
A little boost.
Listenership. Yeah.
Yeah. This will help him out. He really help us out, but we'll help him out.
Oh man, that was such a good response. I liked it a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I get it.
I don't get it. That's the funny part because like when people ask me questions on other like medicine stuff that I cover, that I mean I get bombarded with a lot of questions and stuff, and people just kind of expect me to just like, sure, I'll sit down with you right now and we'll just go through everything and figure things out for you, and I'll do it for free, and you'll just give me a thumbs up and everything will be fine. So I mean I'm sure he has a lot more popularity, and I just ignore like half the messages I get because I just can't keep up with it, and people genuinely are just like, hey, do this for me, do that for me, or whatever it is. So I just find it hilarious that he actually took the time, watched some videos, and responded in 15 minutes, and then said that.
Yeah, I watched 1 second of 3 videos.
I do not have time. You are correct.
You got time to watch her? Yeah, I just want to ask you like 5 minutes, dude. That's all I want.
That's hilarious.
That's all I want.
To me. That's too funny.
Yeah, David Hoffman. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I totally get it as well, but it was just like I was like, I don't know if he's got an Instagram or any social media, but I just found his website, which was clearly done in the 90s, and scrolled to the bottom and saw an email and was like, let's go for it. and he just, it's like he was just waiting to answer it.
But he's too busy. Oh, man, that is too freaking funny. But all the best to David Hoffman. All the best.
Yes,
I'll definitely have to check out his videos.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be interested. I've seen some like old videos of people, like a guy, I don't know, maybe it's David Hoffman, who knows? But this was like a year ago. I watched some videos of this guy going around the streets and just interviewing people, just asking them like, do you believe in aliens? You know, stuff like that. And then people would answer. And it's funny to me, there are some slight differences in how people talk then compared to now. And I'm not just talking about like grammar, but it's just like they're like, oh, well, shucks, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it could be true. You know.
Yeah, that's another huge part of the videos. Is like, obviously people dressed and their style was completely different, but the way they talk, like, you know, their vernacular, what words they use and how they pronounce the words. And it's pretty, it's crazy. I mean, people don't talk like that anymore.
No, not at all. And you'd probably look at somebody kind of strange if they did talk like that. But I wonder how that came to be, that it evolved, like the way that we speak.
I know.
Evolved over time. And it's so subtle. That's the thing.
Yeah. And it varies so wildly just in regions of the country so close together too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
As far as like accents go.
Right. Yeah. I love watching that stuff too. It's really a blast from the past. I really appreciate that stuff.
Yeah. David Hoffman. It's a cool page, but yeah, and then another guy, I follow Joey Diaz, the comedian. I support his Patreon, and it's like $1 a month. And I always liked his podcast, and I sent him a message on that, and he responded within like an hour from my message too. So I was like, that's pretty cool that he would, you know, take the time to actually read it and then give me like a pretty like, you know, sincere response anyway, not just like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Which would have been fine too, but it was just, you know, I go into these things like messaging different people, and I'm like, you know, 98% sure nobody's gonna even read this.
Yeah, I've done that many times.
So you're just like, all right, that's pretty cool. They actually read it and gave me a cool answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So when is he going to be on the podcast?
Yeah, I knew better not to ask him. Because, I mean, I would love for him to be on. I mean, that would be an amazing episode. But yeah, he's far too busy for that as well.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's just encouragement to continue to try to get famous people to be on the show.
just random shots in the dark. I remember I emailed Bill Gates once, and I didn't hear back from him. So
what?
He's probably just nervous, trying to think about what he's gonna respond with. So maybe I'll send him a follow-up email. Who knows? I
don't think he deserves it, really.
Well,
it's rude.
Like to give the guy another chance.
Give him a fair shake.
Give him a fair shake. I think he might become something at some point.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. But speaking of famous people, you sent me a clip of a famous comedian, Mr. Bernie Mac.
I know the episode last week was a little bit serious, and 2020 has been very somber, serious, and that's fine. You can talk about the serious things, and I think a lot of times you should, but maybe this will be a little bit of a brighter moment in your life for 2 to 3 minutes. That can cause you to laugh. From one of my all-time favorite comedians. We've talked about Bernie Mac many times, and he's certainly in my top 5. But I watched like 15 seconds of this clip, and I haven't seen it in years, and I just stopped it because I wanted like a more genuine reaction now. So I don't know if you've seen it before, but this is just a clip of him talking about like his relationship with his wife and like kind of who wears the pants in certain scenarios. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay. So I have not seen this clip. And when you sent it to me, I had the exact same thought. I just got through the first 10 seconds and I was like, I stopped it. And so this is a new experience for both of us, sort of quasi-new.
I'm talking about respectfully scared. When no motherfucker tell you not this time, goddamn it, they mean not this motherfucker time. I ain't talking about you, bro. I'm talking about your woman, your wife. Remember, my wife told me New Year's Eve, I said, I'm getting ready to step out for a few minutes. She said, you ain't going no motherfucker way. Now, right away, I got the defense. Now, what the fuck you mean I ain't going nowhere? She said, did you hear what I tell you? I told you I ain't going nowhere. Step out if you want to. Step off if you want to.
Those pants.
Now I'm nervous.
Great.
But I don't know what the fuck I'm nervous about. That fucked me up. I said, what the fuck? I'm a man. What the fuck I'm scared about? She turned her back, kept on cooking. Now I gotta get strong. I said, look here, I'm gonna step out for a minute. She said, well, if you going for a minute, ain't no need you going nowhere. I said, give me the goddamn key to snatch the key. I said, give me these motherfucking keys. She didn't say nothing. She said, walk out at your own risk, Bernie. No, I can't have that. I can't have that. First time I said, who you talking to? Who you talking to like that? Who you talking to? She said, I'm talking to your black ass. I'm talking to you. I said, I'm going out. I'll be right back. Now here comes the pump. You hear me? I'll be right back. Now here come the sissy. You need something?
That's good.
Man, I couldn't play no cards right that night. I was all discombobulated. I'm looking at the clock, and I know when I get home, it's going to be some shit. Soon as I got home, 50 o'clock in the morning, late to the son bitch. I pulled up, all the lights was out. Boy, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. Because I know this woman going to start some shit. See, when women get tired of their ass, man, I'm telling you, man, you better leave those motherfuckers alone. I go in the house pitch black, open the door, she behind the door. But you can't sleep. That's when she walk up on you, like they walk up on you like this. Where you been, Brandon? Why you gotta walk up on? That's so you can't move. That's so you can't move. Where you been? I've been out. She said, didn't I tell you, don't go no motherfucking way out? I said, I heard what you said, but I thought you were playing. She said, man, you gonna tear this motherfucking house up tonight. I said, look here, shit start getting loud, shit start getting rough. You know when you get ready to humbug when you hit it. I said, look here, let me go. I said, look here. You know you're in trouble when they repeat everything you say and shit, Girl, boy. I ain't playing. Somebody gonna get hurt, sure is. Somebody gonna get hurt. Man, I'm so glad that motherfucker somebody knocked at the door. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I heard 2 knocks with the fucking police. As soon as I saw him, I said, come in. This motherfucker trying to start some shit. She trying to start some shit. Oh, I'm gonna start some shit. No.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was great.
Oh, so true, ladies. Y'all be tripping.
Yeah, come on now. Oh, yeah. I do think about that sometimes, though. I think about the kind of the strange aspect of, like, when you're single, you are responsible for yourself, and you can do whatever the hell you want. And then
whenever the hell you want.
Whenever. I mean, just anything, you have complete freedom. And then once, for some reason, I don't know why. I really don't know why, because it's not how I go about things, or I try not to. But once you're in a relationship, suddenly there's these just hidden rules that just appear out of nowhere. And suddenly you have to start consulting. And I mean, just like taking that kind of example, right? Like him just like leaving the house. Like, I don't, there's something in my brain that just doesn't wrap itself around that. And I've been in long-term relationships, and I've just never wrapped my head around that. Like, if I want to leave, then I'm done. Like, I'm leaving, and not the relationship, just leaving the house. Yeah. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And so I just don't understand this idea of like answering.
But now in the back of your mind, you're like,
do I need to like not ask, but like I need to like, hey, I'm doing this. It's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Just go do it.
And here's the reason why, and here's when I shall return.
Yeah, right. And, that's a good point, Kyle. Because if this is when I shall return, but you don't return at that time, suddenly you feel guilty. You feel like you've done something wrong because you didn't like communicate. You didn't come back at the time that you said you were going to. Like, and even if you're late and you communicate that, there's still a chance that may upset the other person. And I mean, that goes for women, that goes for men, that goes both sides. It's just such a weird concept to me that the moment you live with someone, or the moment that you're even in a relationship, suddenly time becomes this like weapon and time and place become this weapon that's kind of nuclear between you and a relationship. But on the other hand, if you do that with friends, no one cares. No one gives a shit. Like, I can promise you, there have been so many times that I've been hanging out with Stuart, and we are so chill around one another that sometimes he'll just leave the house for like 6 hours and then just come back. And I just we don't care. I had legitimately, I'll tell you this story real quick. Legitimately, one time, without going into too much detail, because I mean, I imagine Stu would be perfectly cool with this, but like still, there was this one time. So Stuart like takes a really long time in the bathroom. I'm talking really long, and you find out exactly how long once I'm done with this story. But he came over, we were hanging out, and like I said, real chill, whatnot. Just like literally, us hanging out was just us being in the same room. Just like
does he listen to this podcast, by the way?
I have no idea.
I know he's been on before, but
I have no idea. I'll let him know that I'm telling him this.
Yeah.
Telling you the story. It's not going to matter. I promise you.
Oh yeah.
And we're just doing completely different things because we have nothing to say to one another. We're not responsible for one another. We don't care if the other person's like feeling a certain way or whatever. It just, none of that stuff matters at all. It's just about like just hanging out, just being in the same vicinity. So he ends up going to the bathroom, and he is in there for like an hour. And I actually forget that he's like over at the house. So I'm just like going about my life, going about my day and whatnot. Literally 5 hours later, he reemerges from the bathroom. And I'm thinking about, I look at him, I was like, holy shit, you were in there for the entire 5 hours? I thought you went home. And that's what I'm talking about. Like this like I was just bewildered by the fact that he was in there for such a long time. But but it was so commonplace for him to just leave and then just come back like 3 hours later, or like sometimes it's like 9 p.m. Like it just doesn't matter. It's like I find
time is irrelevant.
It feels that way. Yeah, definitely. And but once a romantic relationship gets involved, it's like impossible to have that. You just cannot have that. You somehow have this relationship that's also bound in time and place, and things have to have structure. And if you don't fulfill the requirements or fulfill the structure, then there could be repercussions. And again, this goes both ways. But yeah, I just. So like his like, I mean, Bernie Mac's hilarious. So he does it like really comedically, and I'm never going to be able to do that. But just like the overall theme that he's talking about in that clip is just so true.
Yeah,
it really
it's
is
a universal thing, you know.
But where does it come from? That's what I'm asking. Like, where does that come from?
I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't know. I mean, there's certainly more, the experiences on that particular subject can vary wildly. And I guess the hope is the longer you're with someone, you can kind of work around and learn their tendencies and, you know, eventually, you know, be okay and be trusting. And, I don't know. I mean, I guess the deeper you go into it, the more trust develops, but also the more responsibility will develop also, which is like, you know, hopefully you'd want to be around that person more. And especially if you have, you know, a family and stuff like that, then the responsibility of that causes you to be like, I need to be around too. But
that's a completely different situation. Of course, if you have a family, you just walk out for like 5 hours or whatever it might be. That's a slightly different situation.
It certainly is. It definitely is. Man. But yeah, I mean, my friend and I, when we saw that movie and went and got some pizza, we were kind of talking about stuff like that, and people who, you know, avoid responsibility at all cost. And he was talking to me about a friend who, you know, he likes, but his wife kind of hates. And, cause he's just not been, you know, in her eyes, somebody that's taken responsibility to a healthy level, and just kind of been more of a hindrance in a lot of ways
Mm-hmm.
to himself and to others around him. And it just brings up the question of like, when comes a time when you say like, enough is enough. Like if I continue to have this person in my life, I mean, I could see myself, I'm not getting anything out of this relationship with this person. When is it time for somebody to say, it's probably time to cut you out of my life for a while or for good. I don't know. So It was just like, it evolved into that conversation as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had to do that or can think of a time when you maybe have had to do it in a minor way or temporary way.
Well, I've had to tell people that I can't have them in my life anymore, but it hasn't been with anyone that I've been like seriously good friends with. And yeah, it hasn't been well, I guess that's not true. No, but like, yeah, it's never been with like somebody that I was like really good friends with or whatnot. I mean, obviously you can't give details and whatnot. But what struck me is you mentioned that, your friend's wife or girlfriend or whoever, doesn't like this other friend. Yeah, with that kind of stuff, I always wonder. I think it sort of plays into our previous, what I was just like ranting about, that I do think that people need to make sure that they develop a certain sense of independence. And if that friend, let's say that friend is a complete like moron, they're not responsible, they're not moving forward with their life, et cetera, but they're fun and they don't actually cause you any harm. Like they're not being hurtful to you. I do think in that situation, I think it's sometimes easy to kind of fall into this idea of, well, I'm more of an established person now. I have a family, or I have a wife, or I have a girlfriend, or whatever it might be. And then say, so therefore this person can no longer be part of my life. And I think you can also offer like limitations to that friendship and just say, kind of put it in like recognize it for what it is, but maybe not necessarily cut that person out completely, because they may be a good person. They just have a completely different way of life. And the big caveat to all this is it's not affecting you. I mean, if it's negatively affecting you, that's a completely different situation. Then, I mean, then you may have to consider cutting that person out of your life. But I very strongly believe that people shouldn't lose their identity in their relationship, as in, and I think that this happens. Okay, I'm definitely biased, but I think this happens a lot with men. They get married or they get into a relationship, and then suddenly it seems like things just kind of devolve into the marriage. And then they always default to their partner. And I think if that happens, I legitimately I'd be questioning myself if I always deferred to my partner. And I know I'm kind of going off on the side here. This isn't exactly what you were talking about, but I do think that a person needs to question themselves if they never disagree with their partner and they just kind of go with the status quo. But it kind of fits in with kind of the Bernie Mac situation plus your situation, kind of putting that together. That I think no matter what, you have to be able to think for yourself and really evaluate a situation independent of your partner, and then also consider your partner and see if it's affecting your relationship or your family or, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of considerations.
Yeah. And, his thing to that was like, she said this about, several of his friends throughout their marriage. And he's like, sometimes, it turns out like she was probably right about certain people. And other times I'm just like, you know what? I don't care that you don't like him. He's my friend. He's not going to harm my life in any way.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll just hang out with him by myself. He doesn't have to come over or whatever.
Right.
So he acknowledged that, he's not just going to be like, no, like, or just be like, okay, like he's done or something like that. But he did acknowledge that he's the type of person who is like very willing to give people the benefit of the doubt probably too many times. Whereas his wife is like, is a pretty good judge of character, like right off the bat with somebody, and can kind of get a good judgment of their character from a couple different, or, only a few interactions with that person.
Yeah.
And just like make an opinion and be like, we're done with him.
Yes, honey.
But then it goes, to like, if your life isn't being negatively impacted, but then, some of the decisions and actions that this person makes, might be negatively impacting their family or the loved ones around them. And then you're hanging out with them when they might need to be doing other things. Is that a different circumstance? Is that enabling on your part if you know that's going on?
I mean, the way I see it is that you have to have enough strength of character to pull that friend aside and say, hey, here's how I think about things, and you're negatively affecting other people. I don't think that removing your positive presence, if they are not negatively affecting you from their life, is a good way to go. I mean, as a friend, then you're leaving them out to dry. Like they're going to continuously negatively affect their family, and you're that one positive presence that can potentially at least start to get the ball rolling in terms of, not changing the person, but just discussing, like opening that conversation with them. It's, all these things are like, take so much nuance, but ultimately it's very much like, is this affecting you? Is this negatively affecting you? If it is, I'm completely for just cutting someone out of your life. Like that's cool by me. But it's incredibly circumstantial.
Yep, definitely is.
So, Kyle, we have to talk. Cutting you out of my life.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
Yeah. You're too white.
Didn't. Yeah. Hey, I get it. I pretty much canceled myself from that formula.
You did.
I just released. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, white silence is violence. And I'm being pretty quiet right now.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. I wonder if sometimes when I think about our podcast, it makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder if
God is real.
Always. No, that's not what I'm thinking. But it makes me wonder, like, we all have different aspects of our personality, right? And so, like, when we discuss, like you and I discuss things, we'll have like a serious tone, and that's a particular part of our personality where we're really critically analyzing a situation and trying to come up with, different perspectives on how to see something. And then on the other hand, we have like this kind of sillier side of like where we're making jokes and stuff like that. And let's be real, the sillier side is completely insensitive. Doesn't give a shit about, being PC. And
yeah.
every time I think about that, it's like one part of my personality is invading the other part, and I feel like I need to put stipulations on everything and just be like, but that's not what I actually believe, you know? Like,
disclaimer here, folks.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a weird place to be in, because I really think that everybody is like that. Nobody is always PC, but if you put yourself out there, people just like point at you and they're like, haha, you're not PC. But in reality, no one is.
Neither are you. Yeah. It might not be the same ways that other people aren't PC, but
right.
I feel like the people who get mad are just, I don't know, they're just mad that they can't express themselves in the way they want to, maybe, or just, you just have people who are looking for confrontation and negativity in any scenario.
For sure.
And that's really that's what's really inspiring all the clicks and the views and the rage that is social media, and especially now with everything that's happened this year and the election coming up. And
oh yeah.
So I don't know. It's less than a month away, and I just last week I drove by a place just to see what the line would look like. It was the first day of early voting, and it was at this church, which is very close to where I live, and the line was wrapped around the building, and I was like, well, not voting today. And then a couple hours later, I happened to drive right back by it. There was zero line, and I was like, oh, let me just check it out. And yeah, basically walked in, 10 minutes, I'm at my voting place, and then I'm out the door. So it was just completely right place, right time.
Yep. And as you walked out, you put your fist in the air with your Trump banner falling, just streaming down your arm. And then you started running, and it started flowing behind you.
Yeah. Exactly. Got my Dodge Ram with my Trump flag.
Blue smoke out the exhaust. Yep. Really loud.
Had my Keep America Great hat on.
Again.
Keep it great again. There weren't really many people in there that had political, like, I'm on this team. You know, I thought I would see a lot more people like, you know, who's your soil? Have you looked at your soil and water conservation person?
Yeah, right.
She's been fighting for soil since the late 90s. There wasn't really too many people out there, you know, that are trying to get you to vote one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. But you do have people
I would have just screamed MAGA in their face. And MAGA! Yeah, but there was a couple people, you know, that just were wearing shirts that would allude to
like a last minute, like, are you sure you want to vote for the person that you're going to vote for? Let me give you my 1 minute spiel on why you should vote.
Sir,
for
have
this
you
other
read the
candidate. Bible? The person's like, I hadn't considered that perspective. I will change my decision right on the spot.
See, in this verse, he's talking about Trump. He knew he was coming. Okay, and that's who he's talking about.
Oh, that'd be bad.
No, but yeah, I'm sure there's been stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, you know, a couple guys were rocking like shirts that were like, I love the Constitution, like with a big flag on it, and you know, like Blue Lives Matter and stuff. And you're like,
I wonder who they're voting
I know for. You're voting Green Party, aren't you? Yeah, but Yeah, it's going to be wild. I mean, I know I made a prediction, but you just can't predict it anymore. I don't trust any media outlet, poll, not one single poll at all. So hopefully it'll be a surprise. Let's do a live election night at the Homespun Yak. Although we probably won't know the results that night because of all the mailing.
Later.
Yeah, exactly. Country's divided in half. Democrat nation, Republican nation.
People are at war. I mean, we've said it before, but it could easily be one of the most divisive elections. I mean, I remember when Obama got elected the first time. Holy hell. I'm not going to go into a story that I have in my head, but because I legitimately can't say it on air, but I found out something about someone when they announced Obama won. And I was like, oh.
And so, it was someone who was like real joyous and happy. And
no, the exact opposite. And then that's when I realized,
saying it lightly,
they might be a racist.
Very good chance.
Just complete, did not know this. And then the moment Obama was announced, they just blew up. Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, huh.
Wow. And this is a person that you knew, you thought you knew fairly well.
Fairly well. Like not like a really close friend, it's not like Kyle Atley or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not
your dad.
I knew him fairly well.
That's like what Trump would say if they found out his dad did something, but which he did. I mean, if they were like, your dad called a bunch of black people, the N-word and did all these things, and we have it on tape. We just found it from this random thing, and he'd be like, didn't know him well. Didn't know him. Didn't know him. Not my dad. In that moment, he was not my father.
Oh man, that dude will say anything in a moment. Oh
God,
good gracious.
Yeah, he was in Greenville recently. I saw last week.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people post that they were at the rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you were behind him. You know when they show the guy speaking and the crowd behind, I saw you. You thought you weren't going to get on TV, but I was texting with you. I'm like, I can see you. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, hell yeah.
That was a pretty cool moment. Guy. That was a pretty cool moment.
I was like, I know that guy, and everybody's like, really? Come on.
He's not that ugly.
He's not a bad guy.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. It was.
But you stood out because you had the sign that said keep building the wall, and it was like brick background to the sign. And it was like, man, that's a good way to get on TV and to get your message across. So you got to give you props for that.
Thanks, man. I actually created that a month before because I knew I wanted to make it really, really nice, that I had a chance, But yeah, I mean,
hard work pays off.
Oh, definitely. It definitely paid off.
And Trump taught you that.
Yeah. Hard work pays off. And I don't actually feel bad about my $5,000 of credit card debt anymore because of Trump.
You shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, he's got $500 million of debt. So what's 5,000, Who cares?
Yeah. You're just trying to be like him.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I'm pretty set on who I'm going to vote for.
You made it clear.
Yep, I made it clear. All right, well, I got nothing else. You got something else?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the history of hygiene for this last hour and a half.
I could actually talk about that. I've actually did some reading on the history of hygiene.
Oh, good. Well, it starts off in the year 46.
46. Oh man. Okay. All right. Oh. Well,
maybe we should leave it for another time.
For next time. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would really love to tune into that. I forgot what you started talking about last time, but that was really interesting too. It's too bad we didn't get around to that this time.
The history, the rules, the regulations of disc golf.
Yeah, that's right.
Who are the current players, movers and shakers?
Yeah, of the B League. That's
yeah, we'll get into the A League in about a month or so when I'm done covering B League.
Okay, I can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in next week, folks, and make sure you go out and vote. That's straight from Kyle.
Yes, you heard it from the source.
You have to vote.
That's what this is all about.
Oh, all right. Catch you next time. See ya.